Anytime I hear of a bad guy jumping over the bank counter or variety store counter, I just go, oh yeah, I'm coming to that scene because I know there's going to be a footprint there waiting for me. Most impressions are invisible. It's a matter of how I can enhance that footprint to make it visible, and then I can collect it. Right here, we've got a low pile carpet flooring, which is one of the worst surfaces for footprints. But you can still collect a dust impression off of this floor with a static lifter, a sheet of mylar that you place on top of the surface and you give it an electric charge. And it's the static electricity that raises the dust off of the surface. When you turn the sheet over, you've got the footwear impression on there. If it's a dark floor, the dust will be a lighter color. So albeit a crime scene, I can just put the oblique lighting on the dark floor and enhance the white dust and photograph it from up above and collect it that way through photography. I can look at it and sometimes I can say, yeah, I recognize that. That's a Converse or a Nike Air Force One or whatever. I can tell myself. But if I don't recognize it, which is often because there's thousands of different styles, I can take the image, a photograph of the image, and I'll send it to the RCMP. They can plot the types of patterns that are on the bottom of the shoe. Now what it does is it searches all the manufacturers' types of shoes that are within the database. Thousands of different manufacturers, thousands and thousands of different styles. The computer comes back with possibilities and they can look at it and go, oh yeah, it looks like this type of shoe. And they can send that back to me. Once the shoe is collected, I can compare it to the crime scene impression. The class characteristics are the manufacturer's pattern. And all the shoes that were made from that cast will have the same class characteristics. So you may have thousands of the same type of shoe, and they would leave the same impression, depending on their size. But the other type of characteristics we're looking for are the accidental characteristics. These randomly acquired cuts and nicks occur on the bottom of the shoe as you're walking around. And it's those accidental characteristics that make that shoe unique. To say, yes, that shoe made that crime scene impression. Society, I think, has gotten those impressions of footwear impressions, of what we can do from Sherlock Holmes in novels, and that their gait, how they walk. The depth of a foot in soil depends on the density of the soil, much more than the weight of the person. Most I can say with the footprint is if I've got the entire impression, I can estimate a height of the person, but that's just an estimate. It's a good investigative tool. I'm not going to go to court and say he's guilty because he's 6'2" and the footprint is, a size 12 and a half. Beauty of forensic evidence in footwear impression evidence is it can help eliminate suspects. And we want to find that out at the beginning of the investigation. We don't want to drag somebody through an entire investigation. If I can tell them right from the get-go, and I have many times, no, that's not your suspect. This is the shoe you're looking for, not that person. There are other things that I can see at the crime scene. You can see from the impressions themselves who's gone where, who's doing what. You have a homicide scene where a person's bludgeoned to death. In this case, there was sock impressions that had a slight bit of blood on the bottom, and he's walking throughout the house. I look at the floor, nice clean hardwood floor. I spray the floor with a chemical that enhances the blood impressions. You can see that where the person's gone to get the scissors and a hammer and pages from a Bible. You can see the movement within the apartment. The footwear impressions were able to give you a visual of what actually occurred at the time. That evidence can be extremely damning, especially when you have the cuts and nicks in the bottom of the shoe. I can say without a doubt that is the shoe that made it.